Hey John, thanks for letting me know, loud and clear. I just had to refresh the browser. It was saying, an error occurred, please try again later. Very helpful that is, isn't it? Anyway, I'll jump back on the mic here in a second. Hello, 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 hello. If you're just joining on, welcome. Livestream number 10. Where have these 10 weeks gone? I have no idea, right? But nice to see you all. AKS Bass, how you doing? Nice to see you again. John Curtis, how you doing? Was it AKS thinking why the stream is so late and forgot the clocks went? Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. And in some other places, the clocks are also going to change a little bit too. So just, especially for next week. But more on that a little later. John is asking, are you using that MXR pedal for the frequency filter wah thing, or is it integrated? So that's my EBS Bass-IQ pedal. My nerd question. That's right. Please put all your nerd questions in here and expect to get nerdy bass answers in return. That's what this is all about. Anything to do with bass playing. So if you have any questions, just put it down in the chat and I'll do my best to go down into a deep rabbit hole of whatever it is. A lot of gear questions get asked on these live chats, which are always fun. But it doesn't always have to be just about gear. But if you do have gear questions, please, I'm all about gear. But it can be anything. Techniques, concepts, our favorite bass players, even just anything to do with playing bass and music. So here we are. This is always really loose, really fun, and I'm just getting myself kind of warmed up here, just playing on an improvised loop. So we'll just see where it goes. All right, but again, if you got any questions, just pop it down in the chat, and we'll just take it from there. All right. Oh no, I think the battery died in my loop pedal. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna stop that pop. Hold on. So that's the end of the loop pedal. Maybe I'll use external power on that. But of course, sometimes things like that happen here, which is always real funny. But just to carry on what I was just playing. Sure, I'll just end that one like that. You can just forget about that. The looper battery ran out. Oh man, I forgot to change the batteries out. I was wondering what BT stand for when it was like flashing up at me. I'm just like, I've never seen that one before. Ah, battery. That's what it is. But nice to see you all. I see a question from John Curtis here. Non-gear question. I'm starting rehearsals for the Mamma Mia musical. Very cool. It's a real workout, but super feel. Any advice to embrace the disco vibes? So this is the thing. And this is for anything, but especially for something where you need to have, where it's very demanding of what you need to play, and where obviously when playing like disco bass lines, I don't think it's going to be like that. A lot of octaves kind of thing, and it's really about, okay, first of all, what happens is that players tend to dig in too hard, right? When trying to like keep up. They think they're like, okay, it's like, because you're afraid of like slowing down. And so when digging in, it means that there's this misconception that you're going to slow down or not be able to keep up. A couple of things regarding this is that, yes, it's practicing and kind of keeping your arms and your hands in shape is vital for this kind of thing. So this is something where if you're going to be playing where it's going to be very demanding, you need to be playing every single day, like practicing or just doing like exercises or just warm-ups, and it could be anything. I'm just talking about just playing the instrument. You don't want to have it a thing where you have to play all these shows, especially if you're doing something where there's going to be like a musical where there's going to be a lot of rehearsals, and then there's going to be a lot of shows and all that, where there's a lot of playing. So before that, you need to like be prepared, to be able to play the stuff. The other thing too is have your instrument set up so that you're not going to be fighting it. You know what I mean? You want to have it so that it's easy to play. The other thing too, especially when you're in a musical kind of setting, you're playing in a pit orchestra, pit band and all that. And obviously volume is a big factor here. So there's going to be it's going to be a thing where like you can only put yourself to a certain level, and there are certain it depends what kind of musical or what kind of gig it is, but some of those they actually do in-ears for those. I understand that that's not always the case, but if you a lot of these amplifiers, or you can get, or use an interface or whatever, where you can take a headphone or take a signal from your amp and route it through some headphones, maybe just in one ear, that way you can hear what's going on. But if it's a thing of like being able to hear yourself at a certain level so that you can play at the attack that you want, because if everyone's telling you to turn down because for obvious reasons, there's a certain volume some players need to play at in order to get the attack that they want, and that might be louder or softer for others. So long story short, what I'm trying to say is you need to figure out what is going to help you play this whole gig the best, and what is going to help you make your job easy and to where you're not straining. Now, it might take a couple of fine tuning, right? But again, like I said, there are key factors. Your physical, like chops. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about your playing stamina at the moment. You need to keep that, like, kind of your hands fitness level up, and to where it's like you play the bass and it's no problem. Practicing the music, of course, is going to be a big deal, and figuring out, okay, if there are certain passages that are tricky, what are the different ways that I can play it, and which one is the easiest and actually sounds the best. You know what I mean? The other thing, again, these are just key factors. The setup of your instruments. Maybe you need to play a couple of different instruments on different songs because of sound, the tone-wise. And then also maybe playing a certain bass on another tune might be a little easier to play. You know what I mean? And then making it so that, okay, can I hear myself properly? So taking a signal from your amp or somehow routing it to some headphones, and like I said, just doing one ear, And for the disco vibes, this is something, if you haven't played a whole lot of kind of disco, music, played a lot of that, because we all know that it's like, okay, right? We all know that kind of generic kind of bass line, but I think this is where, okay, listen to, if you're playing Mamma Mia, then listen to ABBA. I forgot the bass player's name now, but he was a really great, incredible European bassist who played on all that stuff. Listen to his playing, and then listen to other cats like Bernard Edwards. Listen to Guy Pratt as well. Like, cats who are playing a lot of like disco bass lines, all right, who really had the bump in it. So that's what you got to do. You got to just listen, all right? This is the stuff that you can do as a musician to really prepare yourself for the gig. And this is great that you asked this question, but I recommend those things to really, so that when you come into the rehearsals, you feel good, you feel prepared, you're ready to play, you know what to do, and you're feeling confident. And that's when you bring that confidence, that's going to you're going to really radiate that across the rest of the ensemble, and then that will get onto the cast as well. So sometimes it just takes one person having really good confidence to really make a big difference. So I hope that helps. And yes, loads of ghost notes to make a groove. And that's the thing, I will also say, don't make it complicated as well. All right? Don't feel you always have to, you have to make it busy. Sometimes you just have to, if there is a passage in there where it's just asking you to just go, Um, do that. Make that feel good. All right, because there's going to be other stuff going on. And remember, the focus is on the cast, right? You're there to make it feel good. So if just think about, okay, like, does this need to be busy? Does it need to be complicated? In most cases, it doesn't. All right. So if your only job in some of the songs is to just go, then just do that, man. All right. Hope that's helpful. Nick Granville, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? And I'd say John, like Nick Granville is someone who plays in a lot of musicals. Being a top chord guitarist, he has a lot of experience in that. He would also have some really great advice as well. So if you ever need to get in contact with him, I recommend you reach out to Nick. Don't worry, he doesn't bite, at least I hope not anymore. And we have another question. Who do you think is the best bass player around right now? It's hard it's really hard to say, because there's it's hard to say who is the best. But there are a lot of people who are really, really incredible, right? Across all. And I'm not trying to kind of just be like, a bit of like a cop out, but that's how I really feel. All right. Yes, there are some really great, strong players who are virtuosos. And there are some really great, strong players who aren't doing the virtuoso thing, who are just really good at doing what we would call the meat and potatoes thing. At the end of the day, with music, this is art, right? And I don't see art as a competition. That's the thing. So doing being like, ooh, the best this, best that. At the end of the day, there's always something for somebody, right? And I learned that when I was, coming up in the Los Angeles music scene. Sure, I was, and I hate to use the word because I just said I don't use it. I don't see competition, but I was definitely, in a way, competing against other bass players, other top bass players in Los Angeles, who have reputations, great reputations. And rightfully so. They've worked hard and they deserve that. But, as an upcoming musician, if you're trying to make your footing and get your foot in the door, it kind of feels difficult. But this is the thing that I found, was that when you can deliver the goods of being not just a great musician, but someone who people want to work with, all right? Other than, yes, coming in, being prepared, learning, having, either learnt the music or coming in and have really great skill of like maybe sight reading or really good ears and listening, playing dynamically, but also being a great person to work with. So that means good communication, a good work ethic, and standards. So that means, not showing up to late to rehearsals and gigs and all that. Actually, being a good working and polite person who is willing to just do what it is to make the music be a solution, right, to the music and to whatever the band leader, composer, and artist wants, right? When people see that, and especially top bass players in our case, I found that I started to get hired, and even other bass players were recommending me for other gigs. And I'm like, well, if they're recommending me, why aren't they playing the gig? Well, a couple of reasons. One is because they're already doing so much work that they need people to fill in for them. They have their list of people that they need to call if they can't do a gig. Another reason would be is that the gig is not for them. They've been asked, and maybe the style of music or the type of thing that they've been asked to play, you know what, this is not really my thing, but I can recommend such and such. And so I started getting those calls a lot. And it got to a point where then when I was starting to work a lot, then I needed to have my own list of players that I can have fill in for me, or also refer to for anybody. So that's the thing where, like, oh, you know what? It's good that there are so many great players, and we need more great players, because in our case, a bass player is always needed for something. So that's when I started throwing out the whole competition thing out the window. I'm just like, nah, you know, I'm glad that there is some great young up and coming players, or someone new that has just moved into town, because, you know, I might need to refer to them. You know, that is always a positive thing. And that's what I do here at Bass with Benjamin, is I have students who are up and coming and who are really wanting to do exactly that, to be these top call bass players in their scene, wherever they are in the world. And this is what I coach them and mentor them with. So it's really satisfying, and it's a lot of fun working with just anybody who is wanting to do that kind of thing. And if that's something that you want to do, you can always reach out to me and we can talk about how I can help you with that. So long story short, who is the best bass player around? Everybody. Everyone is. Everyone. All right. That's it. What's Nick say? Yeah, Nick. Yeah, I know you've done Mamma Mia a bunch of times. So yeah, you know that book really well. And I'll tell you, you know, I've played a bunch of musicals and played a lot with Broadway stars and all that, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. I've had quite a blast doing it. Even though, like, it's not my main musical focus, you know, obviously I'm into the kind of jazz, you know, fusion kind of thing. But I mean, I've played in just about everything, and musicals have been so much fun because they keep you on your toes, and I really love that. Reading music, having to switch instruments and all that. And even just like, you know, a lot of times you're in really good company as well. Like the people from the cast and all that, other band members. Like, it's a really great hang. And some of my favorite gigs have been playing, have been with Broadway stars. You know, so people like Megan Hilty, Megan Gonzalez, Nathan Graham. You know, like, just, and they're like just incredible musicians and actors. I mean, like, when I played with Megan, we did like a whole bunch of, it was just her show. We just did a whole bunch of tunes that she's done from various, you know, Broadway, you know, on Broadway musicals, you know, over the years. Even like she was the main character in the Dolly Parton musical, and her Dolly Parton impression is just amazing. It's incredible. And so it's just so much fun being around that whole crew of people, as opposed to, you know, my usual like jazz kind of, you know, circle. So that's always been a lot of fun. And, you know, it is also a lot of fun, you know, to be able to be on a a gig where like you don't always need to just be playing a bass solo as well. Sometimes, you know, because I've done a lot of that, sometimes I just want to be on a gig where I'm playing, you know, like just something real simple like that. And again, like I was saying earlier, if that's all I need to do, that's all I need to do, right? Nothing more than that. And that's the beauty of our job as bass players, is that we want to be able to be flexible to like go between having to play a lot of notes and also having to play like the absolute minimum as well. So that's the other thing. If you're just joining on to the live stream, welcome. This is a really cool bass hang, and we just kind of nerd out. So if you have any questions or anything, just throw them down in the chat, and I'll be able to go on a 10 to 15 minutes kind of lecture about you know, something very small like the thickness of an E string or something. I don't know, but so something like that. But I did want to talk about something, you know, going back to what I was saying about you know, being a top cool bass player that can fit in virtually like any situation. And so in my case, I've had to play obviously a multitude of different types of music, from people's original compositions and to even just crazy arrangements and in different styles I've never played before, and you just have to kind of go with it. That's the thing. And I remember doing this session for I think it's for a television show. We were playing the music, and myself and Peter Erskine were on the session, and we had to play straight ahead big band jazz to ska reggae music, which is funny. And I remember Peter was asking me, he was just like, I've never played ska before. He's like, how should we do this? And so we just pulled up some kind of basic kind of ska like just grooves on YouTube, really. You know, people like obviously like Stuart Copeland and all that. I even pulled up Rancid as well. You know, I know that's more ska punk and all that, because there was actually one that went more ska punk. And we were just like, okay, all right, let's just figure it out. And it worked out well. It really did. So that's the thing. Is just that you just have to be able to come up with a solution on the fly, which is, you know, can be challenging. But I mean, that's what I love about doing that thing. John's asking, you played that half and half fretless fretted Ibanez. It looks crazy and right up my alley. Well, I can tell you, John, don't use that one on the Mamma Mia gigs. But I have played the Ibanez Ashula bass. Definitely very interesting, very unique. It wasn't my thing, just because I didn't really have so much of a use for it. But, you know, I did check it out. I think it's a cool instrument, and I've seen some players use it and do some really cool things on it. And that was always, and I was like, okay, so that's how you got to use it. But yes, you know, one song, are you saying, yeah, fretless. You know, this is the other thing, John. You probably didn't know this, but on Dancing Queen, that's actually done on a fretless. Dude played. I can't remember his name right now, but he played it on a fretless. That's the thing. So if you listen real carefully, you'll hear a fretless bass on Dancing Queen, for sure. But going back to what I was saying, the other thing too is that I felt that there's a real art to playing in terms of playing styles of music. The one that really gets left out a lot is ballads, you know, and I'm sure some of you are probably going, oh, whatever, you know, it's boring. Yes, thank you, John. Rutger Gunnarsson, yes, he was incredible. He played fretless on that. Hello, Red, nice to see you. Yes, no, the streams are all here, all right, and you can always watch the previous ones here on my channel as well. Oh, and you got a Digitech whammy pedal, a mono neon signature. Nice. Let us know how that works out. Those are always really fun. And of course, mono neon just has really made a really cool sound and voice with it. He's one of my favorite bass players and has been for a long time. Actually, when he was called Polyneon, that's when I first kind of discovered him. But you know, so what was I trying to say? I'm talking about ballads. All right, so this is a thing. As a bass player, as a musician, I always felt that when trying to play a ballad, and especially something like a pop R&B ballad, this is where you gotta really have a great pocket. This is the thing. You really gotta showcase that. You can't be rushing. You can't be dragging. You have to still make that feel really good, even though it might be like a slower tempo. And for us bass players, the most important thing when playing ballads is that is the length of the notes. And this is where Anthony Jackson, for me, really is a key example, just for any kind of bass playing, but especially on ballads. He's someone who knew how to cut off the note perfectly, right? He knew the length of the note, because this is the thing. The beginning of the note is very important, but the end of the note is just as important. And in ballads, that is a huge thing right there, because you're dealing with space as well. So if you're going to cut off a note, it needs to kind of be a little more precise. And I'll play a demo for you shortly, but this is something that I learned, you know, when playing with cats, you know, we're playing like ballads. I'm kind of just clunking along, you know, and they're like, no. Like, where's the, you know, there's no feel. You're kind of just playing notes. And you also seem like you're kind of bored. And they were right. I kind of was, and I was just doing the motions. But the thing is, it's like I wasn't really... I was just playing the song. I wasn't being the song. That's the thing. And so when playing any kind of ballad, you really need to still do the bass player duty, right? Of making it sound and feel good. And it will just totally not hit the same way as when you're playing something that is in a more standard tempo, if you're just going to be playing just whatever. And also the tone is a big thing too. If you've got too much treble, too much mids, then that's going to not blend in as well. I'll play a tune here actually, and just give you an example of playing a ballad. And this is actually a Seals and Crofts tune, but this version is done by my great friend Ellis Hall, and this is done more on a kind of pop 12/8 kind of R&B ballad. But this is something where, now I just want you to pay attention to the lengths of notes that I'm using on this, and where I'm cutting it off, and also where I'm going to be putting in fills as well, where it's needed. But this is something that I work with my students a lot, because they all want to do the, they all want to do that, but when it comes to playing the slower stuff, it's not happening. So have a listen with this. This is something where if you have headphones, I recommend using headphones or some good speakers, just so you can really kind of focus in. So this is a tune called I Really Wanna See You Tonight. Very appropriate ballad kind of material. So here we go. And also, please let me know if you can hear the backing track as well. Like I'm kind of like paranoid about that now. All right, here we go.
Hello, yeah, it's been a while. Not much. How about you? I'm not sure why I called. Guess I really just wanted to talk to you. Thinking maybe later on we could get together for a while. It's been such a long time, and I really kind of miss your smile. Talking about moving in, and I don't want to change your life, no I don't, but there's a warm wind blowing, the stars around, and I really want to see you tonight.
So that's something where that tune in particular, when I used to play that a lot with Ellis Hall, that was the one when, I'd learned the tune and all that, and I was just playing whatever. I was playing too much, trying to do all these fills and everything. He's like, no, brother, no, man. Like, you gotta really just play deep in that pocket, all right? And your notes and everything is too long, all right? He's like, you're not cutting them off where they need to be cut off. Just listen to where those drums are. That's the thing. So, when playing, so this is the thing. If you feel that your ballad playing is not up to scratch, or you feel that ballads are just boring, then you just need to rethink that. All right? Rethink it. Why do you feel is it boring? Anytime you have to do it. Is it because it's not exciting? Because it's not faster? These are the questions I ask my students when they say, it's just like I kind of want to like fall asleep. If that's the case, you're falling. You're not in the music, right? You're not deep inside what the song is about. Like for me, when I play ballads now, whether I'm playing a jazz ballad or a ballad that I just played there, I'm always listening to, if it's in most cases a vocalist, I'm listening to the vocalist. They're the ones who are setting the vibe for me, for how I want to play it and where I should be playing stuff. So this is the thing, is that, again, it's how you feel it. It's not all just thinking, okay, at that note, I'm going to then cut it off there and then blah, blah, blah. No, you have to listen, you got to feel, and you got to understand what the song is about. To me, that has always been the best way to really play a good ballad, is to really channel into what it's about, because that's, again, it's art, it's music. We're playing with feeling, we're playing with emotions, and so I wouldn't do that. I want to tap into that as well. Nick is saying, ballads are tough, but I love playing them. I was taught to think about the longer form to play ballads well. Exactly. You want to take, this is the thing, you want to take your time with it, even though, yes, it's a slower tempo, but you can't be rushing. Then it's not going to have that same feeling. You got to really just take your time and be patient. And I always thought ballads were a great way, especially when you're doing a set of music, you're playing some burning stuff. I always thought that ballads were a nice a nice contrast and a good way to kind of just recharge and reset and rejuvenate as well, after playing maybe some real shredding stuff. But that's just my experience with that. I might play something else here. Maybe we'll play some. Maybe I'll play something a little more up tempo here. Like I said, I'll spend like 10 to 15 minutes just on a rabbit hole of one thing. that's what I like to do. I like to really kind of go in. But again, if you got any questions, just put it down here in the chat. This has been some great questions here. And to just kind of play. And again, this is always something here on these live streams. I don't have it like always super like planned out, really. It's really just, I just jump on, just play, and whoever's on here, whatever questions, that kind of leads what we're talking about, or what I'm going to be talking about, anything like that on these live streams. So it's always really cool. I might play, let's see. Let me bring my music stand here, because I definitely have to read. I'm going to play, it's actually a Brecker Brothers tune. But this version is I played this one with one of my favorite drummers, Terry on Gully, and I played this one in his band called Tanktified. That's the name of his band. Really great band. There's videos of us on YouTube that you can check out. But it was It's myself, Terry on, Curtis Taylor on trumpet, Bob Reynolds on saxophone. There's a few different keyboard players that we had. Jeffrey Keyser, Chris Bowers, Russell and Sirota, like different cats would be playing. I think John Beasley played as well a few times. But I'm going to play a tune that we used to play a lot. This one is called Spherical. Let me pull up the track. And again, this is a really cool Brecker Brothers track. So here we go, right into it. Whoops. Spherical. Very, to me, that was one of the tunes that is very that kind of vibe that Terry On put on it is very, it's so him. That's the thing. He loves, these offbeats. He loves doing that kind of thing. And what's different than the original is just this vamp. Is that over the main melody? That's the thing about that, is just he wanted to just have that kind of vibe, and then eventually add in the that kind of thing. What's John saying? I always get to have a child in front of me. Luxury. What are the steps you take as a pro to get off charts and play a long show without them? Yeah, no, it's a good question. It depends on the type of show, right? So, when I was playing with Peter Erskine, at first I was using charts, right? But then as we played a lot of shows and toured, I just memorized it, right? Same thing was with Lee Ritenour as well. Was that you'd played the music so much that it was just in you, right? So I was like, you know what? I actually don't need the charts, and I did it with Peter with both of those gigs, or any gigs where I can kind of memorize it. It gets to it where, like, you know what, I do feel comfortable enough. Maybe I won't have my music stand on the stage. I don't know. Let's see what happens. You only do that if you feel like you can do it. Okay, that's the thing. But there are other shows where, yes, I would have to read charts, or where I felt that, like, maybe I need to read the charts because there may be certain cues or whatever, or just certain notes. And it's not a thing of like, you've worked on the music enough, because, I've all the years playing with Monkestra, that was, I played that music so much. Yeah, a lot of it I can just play like that, but there are the charts there with certain sections that, which was helpful to, like, be able to just kind of read down, especially when there are things that have like odd phrasing. Not everything is just, 4 measure, 8 measure, even phrases, right? So that would help with things like that. In terms of like keeping the form, that's what I usually used it for. But in terms of the steps, it's repetition. That's what it is. Really knowing the tunes inside out. That is really it's pretty obvious. But that's what that is. You played the tune so many times that you can just do it without even having to really think about it. I've definitely done that a number of times when learning songs for gigs, because I practiced or shared it so much that I was like, when I'm practicing it, I'm like, you know what? I didn't even look at the chart when I was doing that. And I realized that it's like that for the other tunes, so maybe I don't need to. I'll tell you a really cool story. We all know the great bass player, and who's a good friend of mine, Dane Alderson. All right, he's the current bass player of the Yellow Jackets. But I remember years ago, when he first got that gig, this was probably 10 years ago now, actually. But I remember talking to the drummer, William Kennedy, and we were just talking about Dane and how amazing he is, of course. Dane's one of my favorite bass players. He really is. And William told me, he said, yeah, he came into this first rehearsal with us. We had never met him before, and he had we had sent him music to learn. He came in and he had it all memorized already. Like, just, there was like a good, like, 10 plus tunes. He had it all memorized and, like, nailed. That was the thing. And it obviously shows, just, like, going back to what I was saying about, work ethic, coming in prepared. Oh, he was prepared. All right. And, for me, that was very inspiring for me, because it's like, oh, that is a great level. I want to be able to be at that kind of level, to come in and just feel really prepared. And so that's something that I would do, was like, whether or not, I'm memorizing the music or not, but just knowing the music very well, whether I'm reading a chart or not. That's the thing. So doing your homework is a big thing. So yeah, I think you get the idea, John. Is that you just got to really you got to spend the time. You really have to spend the time and do it enough times, and even performance as well, to where you feel like, okay, you can make that decision. Can I get off the book now and just play, and knowing that you can play and exactly where you are. So those would be some of the steps. And speaking of Monkestra, because, we're almost out of time here, and it's crazy how fast this time goes. But speaking of Monkestra, because playing Monkestra tunes was just one of my favorite things to do, and there was just such a amazing bands to really play in. Exactly, John. Put the work in. That's it. Put in the work, get the results. All right. I'm gonna play a Monkestra tune, and I'm gonna play it on the upright, because I kind of feel like playing a little straight ahead. So we kind of went from, this is what I love about it. I was playing a little kind of loop thing until the battery ran out, and then playing a ballad, played a little funk, fusion, and now I'm gonna play some swing that also has a little bit of funk on it, but I'm going to play upright. Because first, like I said, playing Monkestra tunes, I just love it. There's always really cool things to do. And I haven't played this tune in a very long time, so let me see if I can play it. So just give me a second. I'm going to switch over here. All right, here is my good friend Bertha, and I'm gonna adjust the camera, and I gotta share the microphone with Bertha here too. So let's angle the camera up a bit. All right, and I'm gonna bring my music stand here. So this is something where I'm gonna be reading the chart. All right, even though I've played this tune a number of times. But there are still certain sections in there that, because there's a lot going on. Let's get a tune here. So even though I've played this tune so many times, and even in smaller jazz ensembles, this is a Thelonious Monk tune called I Mean You. So I know this tune very well, but because it has a specific arrangement, I'm still going to, look at the chart and follow the roadmap. All right, so I'm gonna have a little sip of coffee. And by the way, all of you are really awesome. I really appreciate you tuning in, asking some questions and all that, and just hanging. This is always a lot of fun. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things in the week that I look forward to doing. So without any further ado, here is the Monkestra version of I Mean You by Thelonious Monk. And this is actually arranged by one of our trumpet players in the band, Brian Schwartz. So here it is. All right. playing that. Such a lot of fun. So that's I Mean You, my Thelonious Monk, arranged by Brian Schwartz. That's the Monkestra, led by Mr. John Beasley. Some of the soloists you heard Brian playing trumpet. I know Adam Schroeder, great baritone saxophone player. He took a solo, and I'm pretty sure that was Tom Lure played an alto solo beginning. So, and again, that's Terry on Gully playing drums as well. So you can actually check out that record that we did. There's 3 records that we did for Monkestra. Volume 1, Volume 2, and Monkestra plays John Beasley. So check those out. Some of my favorite records that I've ever played on. But again, yes, I was reading. You saw me turning pages, well, pushing the iPad. On the gig, I would actually have a big score. I'd have like a conductor's music stand or 2 music stands. I would have that so I wouldn't have to turn any pages. But for the most part, because I know this tune very well, I didn't have to look at it so much. It's more so just to keep up of where I am. But in terms of playing behind solos, I know the solo changes, the chords and all that, so I know where I am with that. But when it comes to certain parts of like, okay, there's these little obscure little hits or whatever, then that's where I'll be paying attention. But I still know where I am. So yeah, but I think, you know what, if you really really wanting to know what, not what I think, you know, if you really want to know what it takes to, you know, really level up your game as a bass player and become someone that is hired in whatever scene you're in, anywhere in the world, I do have a free resource that gives you the information about that. And I know there is a link in the description box over here to that. My 6 tips to skyrocketing your gig opportunities, and also how to make your bass lines kind of just pop out more, just create tastier bass lines. So if you don't have that already, it's free. You can go get that right now. It's a full-on video course where I just give you my tips on what I had to do to become a top call bass player, to be hired. And this gives you an insight of what you need to prepare as well. So go and grab that, as well as my other courses that I have at Bass with Benjamin, as well, for bass chords, theory, beginner bass player. I have all that. So you can just go to basswithbenjamin.com, and also just reach out to me if you have any questions or need any help with anything regarding bass playing and music. I'm always here to help. Again, like I said earlier, Bass with Benjamin is all about helping the bass players like get to the top of their game. All right, we can always use with great, amazing bass players, because there's always a bass player needed for something. So always reach out to me with anything. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe here to my channel here on YouTube, because this will help get my videos into other people's feeds as well. But once again, I just want to thank you all for jumping on here for live stream number 10. This is always such a blast to just kind of hang and just keep it real loose, do some playing, and just talk to you all, just connect with you. This is one of my favorite things during the week. So thank you all for jumping on here. And that's it. That's it for this week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a weekend coming up. And we'll do this again next week. All right. So be safe out there. All right. Wherever you are in the world. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. All right, y'all. Take care. See you soon.